I just call this the big picture because I'm going to hit a lot of things during this presentation. And hopefully, if nothing else, inspire you a little bit or just get your juices flowing and your thoughts going about maybe how you could steal some of these ideas or say, I'm never going to do that. That's valuable too for you to hear and see, okay, I don't want to be that. Okay. Anyway, I've been doing this a while. HTV Magazine started in the fall of 1989 with 2 classes, and we knew we wanted to do a magazine show every month because it could be about anything. So we could walk into the room every month and have a meeting and decide, what are we going to cover this month? I didn't want to be hemmed in by covering the school and the school events and getting locked into sports, which if you're doing live sports, God bless you, you're crazy, but you might be getting a stipend for it. It might come with the job, I get that. Or you might have a passion for it, but that's a gig that will drain a lot of time and a lot of resources. And sometimes what you get back is not quite, you at some point like, is this really helping my kids stand behind a camera for 3 hours at a football game? I mean, at some point, okay, they've done that. What are they, getting out of it? So for the high school folks, I always tell them, be careful what you commit to, but I have stayed away from that. We have been unusual in this respect. So many schools reinvent their broadcast program every few years. They reinvent it because they get a new teacher, which I understand, and that teacher should have the autonomy to make it something. They got stuck with me. I invented this, and so I've kind of stayed around. I retired from full-time teaching in 2012, but I never left. I stayed right on to teach 2 classes and the 2 broadcast classes. So I've been running HTV Magazine and the Broadcast 1 class that feeds it forever. And we've just been the same show. We've been a magazine show that has a couple of anchors, introduce a story that somebody shot in the field. Here you go. It's not complicated. It's the same show, and we haven't reinvented it. For some reason, we stumbled into the thing we were decent at, and the kids they bought in, they wanted to do it. We have added stuff and done different stuff through the years, but that's kind of what we are. This is our latest thing. We'll be entering our 3rd year with a podcast, and you can find Bay 11 on all the podcast apps, iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, iHeart, all that. We'd love for you to give it a try. Because a few of my kids have been producing it. So anyway, here's some advice from doing it wrong or seeing teachers do it wrong. I just want to share some stuff. If nothing else, old people like me, we think we have to tell you these things that we've learned. I recommend this, and some of you are new to the broadcasting. Don't try to fool the kids into thinking you know more than you do. And I think in this room, most of you get that. I heard a lot of cool comments, but about how I don't know what I'm doing. I teach something else, but I'm willing to learn. That's where you got to come at them from. And I know because I watched firsthand the last few years that I was full-time, they brought on a teacher to teach a freshman media class. I didn't teach the freshmen. We didn't have a freshman class. They decided we would have a freshman media class, but I wasn't going to teach it because my schedule was set. So they said, we're going to have this gal do it. And I told her, I met with her before school started. She's an English teacher. And I said, you haven't done this before. That's cool. I hadn't done it when I started. Don't act like you have. Just get in there and say, look, I know a little bit about writing. I know a little bit about news and stories. You know a lot about technology. Let's work together. You help me, I'll help you, and we'll figure this out. We'll have some. And she went in and she started throwing around the lingo. And it was so transparent that she didn't know what she was talking about. The kids didn't buy into it, and it was a disaster. It was tough every year for her. It was just one problem after. She never really got the thing off the ground. Today we don't have a freshman media class. It was just a big failure because don't act like you know, and because she didn't know what she was doing, she decided it would be the safest as an English teacher. She wanted them to write papers and study the First Amendment the first 5 or 6 weeks of school. You want to kill a video class before it even starts breathing? You got a room full of equipment, and we're going to sit here and read and talk about the First Amendment for a month and a half to a bunch of 14-year-old freshmen. So don't do that. Hey, I have not taught broadcasting, but I'm here. I'm the one that wants to do it. You want to do it, let's do it. I'll help you, you help me, we'll get through this, we'll do it. we're all, I mean, that's a much safer place. All right. And I'm big on this, and we've done this through the years. Now I know, been around a long time, but I did this and didn't know I was doing it. So I want to share with you to be maybe more in tune with this at the beginning, or some of you are kind of in the middle, or you're wanting to some I realized I did this after I'd done it. I did not plan it. But as the years went by, I realized we had this culture in our broadcast department, and it kind of is a neat thing. There's some pride, there's some continuity. The alumni, the kids that graduate from my program, they come back, they help. I tap into them all the time. Melina can tell you, you don't quit HTV unless it's just, no, it just is.
As long as he has your number, you're good.
Yeah, you're good. But you know what? There's the other side of that is most of them kind of like being asked and getting a chance to give back a little bit, because we have a lot of great experiences in our class, and they like that. And most of them, I will say, in a good year, 2 of my seniors will pursue any kind of broadcast or journalism. Nobody wants to go into journalism. It doesn't pay. It's horrible. If you look at the worst jobs in the future, it's at the top of the list of the worst profession to go into right now. There's so much uncertainty. It doesn't pay. You're going to have to live in the middle of Kansas somewhere working for a station 17 people watch. You're going to carry your own gear. You're going to put stuff online. You're going to it is a tough gig, okay? So it's not that I'm preparing them to be professional journalists. It's not that at all. I'm preparing them, I want them to do broadcast journalism now, and all the lessons they get from that are going to last their whole life. There is a built-in life lesson in this subject. You, even now, just make a teenager go up and talk to a human being. But we're not texting, we're talking. I gotta sit here and ask a human being questions with a, yeah, that's called conversation. It's something that we've kind of lost. Make them do that. I get so many former students tell me when they get to college, and they'll come back and see me at Thanksgiving or Christmas. Coach, I've been walking around camp. There's like 19 stories that just every time I look around, there's, oh, that could have been an I don't have a show anymore. I'm not on HTV. That's such a good story. I want to do it. I can't do it because I'm not in broadcasting anymore. They're news radar, I call it. We develop news radar. You start listening to the things that are going on around you and observing the things going on around you, and you're filtering it all through this news radar. Could that be a story? And when you get kids doing that, oh man, then they come up with some great stuff. So you teach them about news radar. Are you really? And my kids, the biggest problem I have, my school is the poorest in town, the poorest high school. So whoever is at the 100%, we're 75% free or reduced at Hillcrest, which surprises people a lot of times when they see our show. But it is. It's kind of become that. It didn't happen overnight. It's been going that way. One of our feeder middle schools is in a really dilapidated part of town, and nothing's happening to fix that. And we just get poor kids. They're not bad kids. We get a lot of poor kids that, as you know, need a lot of support. So I tried to get them to learn about journalism so that the lessons about journalism that matter the most will stick with them. And that's part of what I was talking about, is learning to talk to people, learning to be curious, learning to think about something outside their bubble. I get so many kids in this little bubble of existence. They've never really been thinking about anything outside their immediate issues. And they're very opinionated. They're very opinionated. They think they're right about everything. And boy, journalism, we get to kick them and say, really? You think you're right about that? Well, have you thought about this? Well, no, but that's, whoa, I get a lot of that. I break down a lot of resistance. These kids that think they know everything and they've got this firm opinion of the way it is. Well, have you talked to him? Because let me tell you what happened to him when he was 12. And that's why, it's a great subject to teach, whether they go on with it or not. I'm not a vocational teacher. I'm an educational teacher. I don't have to worry about them going into it. This represents kind of the culture. This is me with my seniors last year, just having a fun photo in our studio area. By the way, that fancy set, that's electric tape, and it's nothing. That's an award we won a few years ago that represents a project that we poured ourselves into that ended up being probably the most well-received and appreciated program we ever did. It's called Homeless in the Heartland, and Melina was a consultant on it because she kind of gave us the idea. We did what we call a special edition of HTV, and that's what we chose to do, and you can find it on our website. This was in California about 5 years ago. I took the group, we went on a spring trip out here to LA area, and we got a dinner together in Pasadena, I think it was, and I invited the former students who were in California, in the area. Hey, if you want to come, I'm bringing HTV to this restaurant. I had about 8 or 9 of them show up. Matt Whitmer showed up with the camera he used his senior year, our first year of HTV in 89-90. He's class of 90. And he brought the award he won at our banquet that year. Oh. And he sets them down at the table, and all these kids who were 25 years younger than him, like, what? You tell me a better message that he thought enough to keep that. He even kept his camera, which that is a cool, kids, that's called a shoulder camera. We used to put them up here instead of here. Okay, all right. So anyway, that's kind of that culture lecture, enough of that. I believe in giving kids ownership. I feel like if the more they think it's their show and they get to help form it and create it and come up with the opening, come up with the graph, all those little touches you can let them handle, they really get into that. They buy into it. I did this, or that was my idea, or that's our set that I came up with. Or I just think the more the kids can own it, the better. And I hope that your administrators buy into that. I think most of them will get that because it's really important in these kind of classes. You can kill it if it's always what the teacher wants, or if the teacher is making them plan everything to make adults happy. We don't do the show for adults. We don't want to. We're 10, we're 11, we're 14, we're 17. We ought to do it for our age group, for our peeps. I like to just what's tough is we go in once a month with a white sheet of paper and we got to fill it up, basically. I mean, I know you appreciate the analogy. So they pitch stories. This is something we call the hot seat. They actually, we don't usually work in threes, but that day those guys were working in a threesome, and they were pitching a story to the rest of the class that's sitting around, and that's our news director kind of overseeing the process. And they pitch their story idea, and then everybody peppers them with questions or suggestions until they make sure they know this is going to work. Kind of like with some of you this morning when Brandon started talking to you, and I picked on you a little bit as we went, to kind of make sure you know you got a story here. There's visuals, who are you going to talk to, what are you going to show me, that kind of feedback, and it's not critical of them, it's supportive. The hot seat is meant to actually support you, help you figure out how to tell the story you want to tell. But sometimes as these questions and ideas come out, they realize, oh, this topic's not. We're going to come back later with a different idea because this is not visual, or we're not going to be able to get. So, but they hear it from their peers. Again, that's all part of letting them own the project as much as possible. If they can't convince their classmates, their staff mates that it's a good story, who's going to want to watch it? So we talked about focus statement this morning, and I wanted to give you examples. I think you have to have a focus statement for your program. And these are just some I came up with. We are a journalism program reporting news and events of interest to teens. That kind of works for these kinds of shows, I think, that are maybe a little more in depth because they have more time to create them. And that is crucial to what you do with these classes. What's your schedule, teacher? How much time do you have to put into this? Are you staying after school? Are you having a Saturday morning work day? Or you want this all done during the instructional time and that's it? Because I'm not getting a stipend and I don't care if this show, I got a family, I got kids at home. We all have those issues. Don't create a show that you can't manage because you don't have the time it takes to create that kind of show. And these are time consuming. They're in depth. These are a little more manageable. Twice a month is kind of, and a lot of schools at the high school level are landing there right now. That's becoming very common. Try to crank one out every 2 weeks instead of every week, every day. We are the voice of Smith High School, providing information about our school for our student body. And this identifies who our audience is and the kind of content we're going to produce. So that's a pretty good, these are just, I know we've sat in committees and done these, what do you call them for the school?
Vision statement.
Yes, the vision statement, yes. So we're doing a vision statement for your program, I guess. For the daily, we're a source of information for students, parents, faculty, and patrons. That's your daily announcements show that's getting out the word about what's going on today or tonight or tomorrow at our school. They're a valuable exercise for a while, but be careful on the daily stuff. It can wear you down. You're feeding the monster every day, and you don't feel like you have time to teach. You just have time to get a show out. And for administrators, they sometimes don't understand that. They don't understand the cycle of production, and you just need to educate them. They'll get it. But yeah, this one gets it because it's just constantly, and how many times, we did 9 years of the daily announcements, shoot me. 9 years before I wised up and said, done, no. That was on top of doing the monthly news magazine. 9 years of going in every day. The teachers would write out their announcements and leave them in the office. We would go down about 8:30 in the morning, get the tray full of handwritten announcements, and oh, can our colleagues not write? And their penmanship's atrocious, and you know what I'm talking about. And so we had to clean up all that and read the announcements on camera. And so we got so bored with that, after about 2 months, we started making funny features to throw in. And the funny features were really popular. And they were more interesting than the announcements. But when you let kids do funny, just a heads up, if you let them do funny early, you'll never get them back. Save the funny.
But they do stupid, they don't do funny.
Exactly. It's not even, they mimic stuff they've seen. And we know that, by the way, I'm old, so I get to say this. Humor right now is about as low grade and off color and inappropriate for the school setting as it's ever been. The pop culture humor they are consuming. It's terrible. But they're not smart enough, mature enough to filter that and say, that won't work, but maybe we can, they just, I have a colleague he says, stupid ain't funny. And he tells my kids that whenever they try to be funny and it's stupid. So I just like, hey, he's one of your audience. Don't look at me. So you got to be careful with the funny. Of all the times I've gotten in trouble in 30 years, 99% of it was for bad attempts at humor on our announcements or on our show that we do every couple of weeks just for the school. It's always because we all have different senses of humor, and we're all offended by everything now. We live in a world of everything offends everybody, or something is going to offend someone. So it's so hard to do humor with teenagers, let alone, I mean, I can feel your pain even as you go down the age group. So don't let them go for the funny stuff early, or you will, and you all have colleagues who have the sense of humor of a block of cheese, and if you try to do funny and eat up their instructional time, they're watching your show. What was that skit about the puppet and the thing? And I don't have time for that. I don't know why that's part of the show. We thought it would be entertaining. Okay, we're sorry. I mean, you really, at some point, that's all you can do is, we screwed up. We're sorry. Okay. And so then you can also do information, entertainment, and sport. You don't have to do news. That's my comfort zone is journalism. But there's a lot of schools out there doing some pretty cool stuff that's not news oriented. You know, whatever you do, just do it well. And be able to make sure there's an educational reason for it. But man, I tell you what, some sports, there's a lot of coaches shows out there. That's making some kids talk to coaches and ask questions. And I tend to think coaches are usually cliche interviews. They don't ever say anything. You know, I was a coach, so I can say that. We're so careful not to say anything that's going to get to the other team, and they're going to kick our brains out Friday because you said, you know. So anyway, that's that. So those are focus statements. Here's the one for HTV. HTV Magazine produces journalistic stories by teens for teens. It's very simple. Tells you the kind of stories we're going to tell and who they're for. We're not doing our show for your mama. We're not doing a show for the assistant principal who doesn't like our show. Very possible. I mean, I think it's good to identify your audience. I don't know why a group of fifth graders would do a show for mom and dad. I think a group of fifth graders doing a show for fifth graders and those others at their school, that makes a lot of sense to me. And sure, the parents are going to love it. If they just do it well and so enthusiastic, they're going to love it. You don't have to gear it toward the parents. You can keep it kid-friendly, all that stuff, okay? And here's a concept I would like you to think about incorporating, because we're going to incorporate it this week. I love this phrase, fail faster. We teach from failure in these classes. I don't know how many stories we've done in 30 years where the kids and me were all happy with them. Maybe 3 or 4. mean, there's always something we didn't get right. There's always a piece of that story where the audio dropped out. What was that? There's always, man, if we could have I hear this all the time, if I could have gotten a shot of this, it would have been so much better. That's just part of what we deal with in these classes is failure. You critique the project and the effort, you discuss it, you don't make it personal. Your story's bad and therefore you're bad. No, you just had some challenges and we did the best we could with what we had. But fail faster, don't dwell on it, don't sit around and kick at yourself for 3 or 4 days. We watch the show together, we talk about it that day, and we're done. On to the next pitch meeting whenever we do a show. We watch it together, they critique it, we go around the room and they all talk about it. I will prompt them with questions like, which story surprised you the most? Which character do you remember the most from the show? Which moment, what was the best shot in the show? And things like that, and they start talking. And then at the end, I give a letter grade to the overall show. They want to see if they can get an A from me for the show. Melina, how often does the show get an A? Yeah, well, there's that. Never. Not never, but yeah, pretty much never. Okay, fine. But my job is to keep it up here. Plus, we've been around a while.
Staff would never give it an A either. Like it's
No,
not just
no,
coach not giving
no.
it an
I have teachers in the past have sent me links. Hey, have your kids watch this and give us some feedback. No, you don't. No, because I'm so tough on them. They can't wait to turn it on someone else. They are just awful. I've created these awful human beings when it comes to critiquing. I will look at your show and be thoughtful and be, but my kids are terrible at it, So here, I wanted to boil down kind of the storytelling aspect because we're going to ask you to do storytelling this week. So I wanted to say, if I'm a teacher that's not really done this much or ever, or even if I've been doing a certain type of show and maybe not story-based, what makes a good story? What am I looking for? What are we looking for in stories? I love a story. Everybody loves a story. You've loved a story since you sat on your mom or daddy's knee and they told you stories once upon a time, or let me tell you about this. And I could enthrall, my youngest daughter used to, at bedtime especially, she would, tell me a story, Daddy. Tell me a story from when you were a little boy. Because one night I told her about a story that when I was a little boy, we used to do this. And she was just enthralled by that. And so every night she wanted me to just tell her a story from my childhood. She loved that. We all love stories. Stories, we have found out through the years of doing HTV, are more interesting if they're about people. Occasionally, the thing is interesting, but usually the thing is more interesting because of the way it impacts people. So there might be a new park going up in your neighborhood. The park's the thing, but what's everybody how's that impacting the people? People are news. Okay. Good stories have conflict. If you don't have a conflict in your piece, it's probably a promo. There's a new smoothie stand on the corner. Everybody likes it. It's yummy, especially when it's 100 degrees in Sacramento. Who doesn't want a cold smoothie? Okay, what's the conflict in the story? So you just reported a commercial, basically, for the smoothie stand. So you have to teach them not to be looking for conflict to cause trouble, looking for conflict to make it a story of interest. So I think of a smoothie stand. Well, you're not the only smoothie stand in town. You guys have a lot of competition, don't you? Yeah, we realize there's, that's conflict. How many do you have to sell in a day to have a good day? Without getting specific into your profit margin, but don't you need a lot of customers to make this work? And, which ones are your most popular? Which ones are your least popular? Are you thinking about discontinuing any of the ones that aren't selling? And then if it's a kid who works there, it looks like an easy job, but it's got to be kind of hard to get up and, I have to get over here and I got 2 hours of work to do before we even open the door. You can find some conflict if you just think about it like that. Say, there's got to be, what's hard about this? You have to teach kids to think, what's hard about this or challenging? It can't just be all wonderful and we sell smoothies and people are happy. So that's the conflict. Save a surprise is kind of an advanced technique, but that's the thing that makes us remember a story. We're going along, okay, I get this, yeah. Whoa, what? What just happened here? That moment, you can't pay, that's golden. And that can be, some of you were asking Brandon about, do you do that in the editing or you do that in the shooting? This is generally an editing thing. I've got all my footage, and Brian comes running in and he's like, oh my gosh, I got this guy. He just confessed to robbing the bank. They've been looking for him for 22 years and he said he did it. I mean, that's dramatic, right? But I mean, so does Brian's story start with Tom Smith said he robbed the bank on June 23rd, 1997. Okay, where do we go from here? Or does he say, for last 22 years, Tom Smith has been living an idyllic life here in Sacramento. He's got 2 kids, a family, and 22 years ago, he robbed a bank. Whoa, that's much more effective. So you save the big thing. Save that moment. Teach kids what the moment is, to find the moment. What is that thing that you got that someone says or shows you that's going to be really memorable? But if I start with it, I don't have anywhere to go. I give away the big thing first off. Where do I go with it? So there's that. All right, so Edgar Allan Poe didn't start detective stories with who did it in the first page. He's got nowhere to go. Columbo, the only show that ever pulled that off. Now I'm dating, where's Vernon? One of those.
That's a good show.
Thank you. But we knew all along who did it. And we spent the whole show finding out how he's going to catch him, how he's going to get the guy. That's not normal for storytelling. There haven't been a whole lot of shows that take that format. In fact, I don't know if there's been one since. And of course, Peter Falk was perfect. So do not try to tell me everything in the story. What? This is a trap we fall into. Okay? Leave something for the anchors or just use the most important. You don't have to, and professionals do this all the time. Why is it important that he was 46 years old? They'll put that in a story. 46-year-old John Smith. Why is that important? If it's not, has anything to do with what he did, we do that kind of information we have it, but do we need it? That's an advanced kind of filtering stuff as you go along. Do we need to tell everything? And I can tell you so many stories about our stories that we never shared because it just didn't. I can tell you, here's my best one, and then I'm going to show you a couple. And you guys will, and I think you can relate to this. We go to the Welcome Back Assembly at the stadium. We used to do them outdoors at the stadium. This was in 2004. And we have junior ROTC at our school, which is the Army provides the 2 teachers, and it's a great program. We had over 110 kids in it. It's a big program at our school. Junior ROTC. And the 2 people that were running it in 2004, Sergeant Major Rock and Colonel, great guys. Go to the assembly. 4 members of our madrigal are going to sing the national anthem a cappella on the field. Everybody stood up, except not everybody stood up. 3 freshmen just sat there, did not stand up during the national anthem. Okay, whatever, they didn't have to stand. But our assistant principal, a former member of the military, he's over here and he sees those 3 kids sitting during the national anthem, and you could just see him just. I got there late, by the way, but I got there in time for this. But because I was late to the assembly, I got to see this better than people that were already up in the stands, because I didn't go up in the bleachers because I was late, because I was busy. Whatever. So I get there late. So I'm watching him, and I'm like, what's he? He's getting mad, and he starts coming around, and he's headed toward these 3 kids. And I'm like, oh, they got 3 kids sitting during the anthem. He's going to, And right over here's the JROTC guys. Now the color guard brought the flag in. I mean, so this is all. Their color guard marches in, takes position. These 4 kids start the anthem. Everybody stands up except these 3 kids. Here comes the assistant principal, a former military guy, going after him. He gets over, you 3 come here, and he makes them march in front of everybody out where they all walk right past. A good half of the crowd saw this happen. He takes them over here, and he's just berating these kids in front of everybody. Now, what happened was, that offended him that they didn't stand, but also, I know him, he was worried that the 2 JROTC people were going to be extra offended because they fought for, he's over there getting them, these 2, what are you going to say to these 2 people? They fought for our country. And he's reaming these kids, and anybody close could hear it. So get ready, because it's the kind of stuff that happens, especially the older the kids are. You might even get this from an element. I have a reporter come up to me on her way back to class after the same, said, Coach, did you see what Mr. Schmitz did to the kids that didn't stand for the pledge? I said, yeah, I saw it. She said, he really isn't supposed to do that, is he? They don't have to stand, do they? I said, no. She said, I said, what are you going to do? She said, a story? And I said, because I'm smelling a good story. I mean, I'm sorry, but I know, because it's got conflict, and he disciplined kids in front of everybody, which is not, you're over here, you know what I'm talking about. You can't. So I said, so she says, so she comes in and she talks to me and says, you can do the story. What's the focus? The focus is patriotism. Should patriotism be forced, or something like that? Can you force patriotism? That's a great way to look at it. I said, he's not going to talk to you about what happened there. He can't talk about discipline. If that's what, none of them got suspended. They just, I don't even think they got in school. They just got chewed out in front of the student body for exercising their rights. So you can see the whole thing. So she says, well, what if I ask him? I said, you just ask him about why patriotism is important and get him to talk about that. And then the last question, don't ask about until you get to the end of the interview. Never lead with, why did you yell at those kids for not standing up during the national anthem? Okay, she waits till the last question. Oh, one more thing. She did a Columbo. Oh, one more thing. Speaking of patriotism, we were at the assembly and we saw you take those 3 kids out, and you were pretty angry with them about not standing for the national anthem. He's like, okay, turn that off. Puts his hand in front of the lens. Turn that off. We get the turn that off. We get that moment, okay? And then shuts it off. She tells me later, he says, I'm not going to talk about that. I can't talk about disciplined students. You want to talk about patriotism, I'll talk about, that's all, okay? I'm not going to talk about that. Okay, turns it back on. Well, about those kids that were on, she goes right back to it. Yes, good for her. Hand again, shut it off. Okay, end of interview. I told you I can't talk about that. Okay, thank you. She comes running back in with the footage, pops it in. Guys, look what I got, look what I got. And forwards it to Win. Look, turn that off. We got him, turn that off. That's censorship. That's like, you can't. And everybody's screaming, oh my gosh, we got it. Then a girl named Emily, my news director, after everybody's all wound up about that, says, I'm not sure we use it, guys. What? I'm not sure we should use it. I'm just saying. And then I said, wait, Emily, why? Talk. Well, I mean, he doesn't want to talk about it. He can't talk about it. It's student discipline. He might not have handled it right. But if the story is really about patriotism, that's all anybody's going to get from the story. That's all anybody's going to talk about. You're going to lose all of that. Because she also interviewed one of the kids that got yelled at, by the way. She had that side. Had one of the kids' sides. Why they didn't stand up. The freshmen, they didn't stand up because they didn't want to. I mean, that's basically it. They had no big political motivation or high moral anything. Oh, we just didn't want to stand up. It was no big deal. Okay, thank you, Beavis. Okay. But Emily, they're all the heads snap around. Get ready, teachers. You never know what they're going to bring in. And at that moment, all the heads snapped around from Emily to me. Coach, what do you? And I became the lesson. We talk about it's kind of a cliche. I became the lesson. In that moment, I said, I agree with Emily. It's a lot of heat, but it doesn't really add to the story. And we didn't use it. I left it up to the kids, but dang it, yeah, I see, okay. Yeah, you're right. We let them sit on it for a day or two. That's an example right there, man. I remember that like it was yesterday. Come running in, oh, we got this. Yeah, we got that. All right, let me do this. This one, watch this story and think about the first one, okay? Think about the first one.
Not just a coach, not just a player, a great individual.
These Willard Tiger baseball players just keep on winning.
14 innings away.
But they suffered a loss last fall that has never been far from their minds. Assistant coach Justin Atchison died last November, and the Willard community has never forgotten. He was deer hunting when he lost his balance, accidentally discharging his rifle. He suffered a fatal wound and died before he was found by his father, whom he had texted before losing consciousness. Another family member, brother-in-law Bryce Wilson, replaced Justin on the coaching staff. He recalls finding out about the accident.
When his mom called me and told me, that was my first instinct was it wasn't real, and I needed to get back to Michaela.
One by one, Willard baseball players learned of the loss of their assistant coach. After first hearing about it, Garrett Rice had trouble processing it.
And it didn't really set in until like an hour later. I didn't really even know what to think. Like, that whole time was just a blur.
Coach Atchison was a Tiger himself. This is a shot of him from his playing days. He never forgot what it was like to be a player and what it took to succeed. He knew how to make an impact.
And I think once Atch got a hold of us, he really just hardened us up and showed us the potential we actually had.
He definitely kept it real with players. He was very honest with them about what they needed to work out, and then he was very honest with them about who they were as a person.
He was that guy everybody could go to talk to. He was just that guy that everybody wanted to be around. You'd want to hit him in the face, and then the next second you were hugging him. He pushed you so hard because he just wanted the best for you.
With every practice and of course every victory, the team inches closer to a state title. They're playing for their school, for each other, and also for Atch.
We're thinking about him 24/7. We know he's watching us, so I guess you could just say deep down we want this for him.
He wanted Willard to be a state champion so bad, so that's pushing us right now to play as hard as we can.
The game goes on for these Tigers, but they know what they would say if they could talk to Coach Atch one last time.
I would thank him again. I'd thank him for everything he's done for me. He's going to be a guy that when I'm 80, I still think about. So I would just thank him for everything.
I'd probably do the mushy stuff and make sure he knows I love him. But
I'd tell him I love him and that I'll see him soon.
For HTV Magazine, I'm Sarah Hale reporting.
They shot that in about 2 hours out of practice. They were so freaked out because they didn't get to a game. They were in postseason and the games were spread out and their deadline, but I thought they did fine. I thought the practice setting actually let them have more time to interview people and relax, and that's another sports story hint. Game time's a rough time to try to get these guys. You coaches know, and you all know, but the practice, there's time. You can let guys sit in a dugout and have a conversation. I love the question that Sarah asked, if you could talk to him one more time, what would you say? That got us to that really nice emotional ending that I thought it needed and all that. So that was that. That one, to me, kind of checks that. People are more interesting. There were 3 or 4 people there. The assistant coach, his brother-in-law, couldn't even hardly talk at times. Rough. Good stories have conflict. Well, see what you think about this.
This box, what's in it, and how it got here are all important, but we'll get back to that. A few days earlier, we opened a letter, which got this story started. Prosecuting attorney Daryl Moore gave me the go-ahead to test just how easy it is for teens to buy alcohol online. Using a prepaid credit card from the mall, I started shopping. Checkout went smoothly. All I had to do was give my age. I typed in 24, even though I'm 17. Some sites warn that a 21-year-old will have to sign for delivery. This one didn't. After placing my order, this package was left on my doorstep 4 days later. We immediately handed the vodka over to Greene County investigator Cami LaFollette.
I think it's incredibly disconcerting that it's so easy for underage people to obtain alcohol.
Then it was time to call the online vendor who sold us the alcohol.
How can I help you?
Yeah, my name is Rachel Miles, and I'm a reporter for my school's TV show called HTV Magazine, and this conversation's being recorded because I'm 17 years old and was able to purchase alcohol from your website, and I was wondering if there was someone there I could talk to about your sales procedures.
I don't think I could help you with that.
All right, is there anyone there that we could talk to about this?
Why don't you give me a number and I'll have somebody call you back?
At this point in the conversation, I gave my name, cell phone number, and order number, and then he took the offensive.
Okay, and you're saying you placed an order fraudulently with our website?
The responsibility falls on the website. So I hope they have a better answer than you shouldn't have tried to get liquor from them. Because the reality is you were conducting an experiment, and if you were able to do it, then it raises the question of how many times are they selling liquor to underage people.
And that call from the company that sold us the alcohol, it never came. So they may be hearing from Daryl Moore's office soon. The prosecutor also plans to discuss illegal internet sales to minors with a congressional delegation.
And I'll bring it to their attention that this is just outrageous, that this is so easily done, and that somebody in the federal government, I'm sure there's got to be a federal agency that's responsible for regulating these people, it needs to be looked at.
Wouldn't that be the ATC?
So there's the conflict. Can you believe the guy kept talking to her? I mean, no, I don't think there's anybody that can help you with that. But no, I'm going to, whoa. So you you ordered fraudulently from our website. And I said, perfect, thank you for that. Then boom, the prosecuting attorney says, I hope they've got a better excuse than you tried to fool them because, oh my gosh. You can relate to this. This is the only time in my life, in my career, Rachel went home. It'd been about 3 or 4 days since she placed the online order. She goes home. I'm still at school. About 3:15, 3:30. She called, Coach, yeah, we've got booze. Yes. And I'm like, yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, this is going to take some explaining. Let's see. So, but getting the chain of we got the liquor control gal to come out. I mean, we had to. What I learned from this, and I talked to people as we're planning this, because the story only took a couple days once the booze arrived. It's a pretty easy story. Get the prosecuting attorney, make the phone call. Investigative stories have to be transparent. Let the viewers see everything you did. And if you do that, they'll buy into it. They'll believe it. But so we did that. We showed her, she talked about she got a prepaid credit card. She showed the whole process, how she ordered the booze, where, all that, Reynolds Internet Wine, here's the call. We had to call them because journalists, you got to give the other side a chance to say something. We did our homework. Illinois is both people have to be informed that they're being recorded. You know, some states, you don't even have to tell them you're recording them. We still have a few states that just one person, one side of the conversation has to be okay with it, and you can use it. Illinois, we found out 2 people, both sides have to be informed. So she said that was kind of scripted, but she had it memorized. My name's Rachel Miles. I'm calling you for my school's TV show, HTV Magazine, and I'm calling you because, and she said exactly, I'm underage and I was able to order alcohol from your website. So he knows he's being recorded. I'm not even sure he shouldn't have just hung up then. I mean, this guy just answers the phone, right? This isn't the guy that owns the business, I'm sure. But anyway, conflict. Yes?
Share this how-to video at your high school?
Yeah. Yeah, I know. We get that all the time. Yes, we did. First of all, it's more expensive to buy online by far than to have your.
$5 with shipping for one bottle.
Yeah, we knew that. Second of all, some of the kids already knew about it, especially the kids on the south side of the town. That 35 wouldn't bother them to spend. So we're kind of like, we feel like probably shedding light is better than not mentioning it. Now that when we found out it was so easy. And quite honestly, we were taken aback about how easy it was. She actually, the first place she tried had gone out of business. So this was the second click. I mean, it was crazy.
Do you ever get flack from your principal on what you show?
No, I have not. Not since we started, and we were very careful to be as accurate as we could be and to really we got support in each principal since the first one when we started the program has been very supportive. And now we're so entrenched, they likely aren't going to come in and say, well, we got a new principal starting next year. So I hope he's not like, well, the first thing he's got to go is HTV. His thing, it's not worked. Well, because it has kind of worked, but we have had good support. Some schools that would not be the case. This story would make some principals scared to death.
Right. And the VP who put his hand there, if you would have done that, would you have gotten in trouble for that?
We wouldn't have gotten in trouble. We could have used it, but then you and me both can still be insubordinate there's only so far we can go. We're under contract to this district. And so if there's a First Amendment, now I know California has some very more liberal rules, thanks to the stupid Hazelwood case that took place in Missouri that took away student press rights, trust me, a lot of them. You cannot go beyond, you cannot be insubordinate. So if your principal says no, always let it be the kids' fight. The kids can do what they want. The kids can go to local media. The kids can do things you can't do without losing your job. Because teachers do get fired for going too far. So, you know, that's the best way to protect your job is to be good at it. Is to have your kids do good, solid journalism they can back up and that you can support. And it's hard to tear down because, well, they, in that story, whether you, yeah, kind of like some kids probably found out they could do that. I'd never heard of anybody trying it after that story aired, but I can support that story because of what they did, and they did expose something. So, but
Didn't the kids bring it to you?
not to me. They turned it over to her.
No.
Oh, the story. Yeah,
story.
yeah. Actually,
They already knew.
yeah, the kids were in on it.
And if they knew, everybody knew.
See, that's the thing.
Their social network.
It's
is
so
far
hard to
bigger
keep
than
up
ours.
with. Yeah, keep ahead of them is like save a surprise. I think you'll enjoy this. It's a little shorter. This story was done in a day. It was done in about 3 hours for a national contest.
When Rachel Veach needs to hit the road, she knows she can count on her 1964 Mercury Comet because she pretty much always has.
I've been married 3 times and she's never lied to me, she'd never cheated on me, and I can always depend on her.
She admits she didn't even like the car at first when one of those husbands brought it home, but it grew on her.
Well, I call her the chariot because the trucker said, "What are you driving?" And I said, "Well, I'm really driving the pumpkin that turned into the golden chariot, and I'm Cinderella." I've got 564,000 documented miles on this car. I've been around the world 2 or 3 times, and to the moon and back.
She got lifetime warranty on the battery from Sears back in '64. She's gone through 16 batteries since then. And being a single lady, she has a permanent passenger for security reasons.
This is my buddy. I won't aim it.
What kind of gun is it?
38.
She drives somewhere every day. She even drove to her 70th high school reunion 5 years ago all by herself to Erie, Pennsylvania. As far as Rachel is concerned, you can keep your hybrids and your 22nd century sports cars, because this chariot is doing just fine.
There's no car on earth that I would trade for it. Whither I goeth, she taketh me.
For HTV Magazine, I'm Jessica Larson reporting.
Had a former student living in Orlando. We were at a convention, at the STN convention in Orlando. We entered this contest called the Sweet 16, where you do a show in 16 hours. And our topic, you draw a topic, and our topic was mobility. So Jason, my former student, lived down there, and I had him come over just to hang with us that morning. We're sitting around the pool doing the story pitch. How are we going to do this? How are we going to? He says, "What's your topic?" Mobility. He said, "Oh, yeah. I know a lady, she's got to be 90 that had this car I did a story on once because he had been a photographer. And she's what? She's 90 and she's got this car from 1964 and it's got like 500,000 miles on it. And all of it. Is she still around?" He says, "I don't even know if she's still alive." Gets out his cell phone. He still has her number. Calls her. "Miss Veach, you may not remember me. I did a story about you about 5 years ago or 3 years ago for this show or whatever it was." "Yeah, Jason, yeah, you do remember. Great. Well, I'm here with my old high school and they're in a contest and their topic, your story about your car would be perfect for their topic. They'd like to come by and talk to you, but I don't know how your day is." "Okay, 11:30? Okay. Yeah, I still, you still over? Okay. Yeah, we'll see you then. I'll bring them with me." Because the contest allowed you to have help, like another adult help. He was my helper that day. She said, "Yeah, got to go get my hair done. Come by at 11:30. I have my hair appointment at 10. "Yes, ma'am. Well, 11:30 works for us. That one, to me, is a really good save a surprise with a gun coming out. Have gun, will travel. And she drove to her 70th high school reunion. How many people have a 70th high school reunion? Who was there? Like,
Her.
she was there. In Pennsylvania. That's a pretty good Orlando to Pennsylvania. God bless her. She is my motivation in life right there. Last but not least, you don't have to tell everything you know. Tell what you've got that's most important. You can leave the anchors a little tidbit. Here's some things I do that may stick for you, may not. I grade the effort, not the result. This is hard to do well. And I can't fault a kid for turning in a story that's not Shayna the Skydiver. Maybe worked twice as hard and just didn't have as cool a character or a thing. I grade the effort, not the result. Get your hands dirty. This is for teachers. Learn to shoot and edit. Do not be a babysitter teacher. I want you guys to feel comfortable this week doing it. And you're going to start that here in a little bit. We're going to give you your first assignment. It's going to make you a better video teacher if you've done some video. Okay. Submit student work to contests. I know about SEVA. I know you guys are all wired in on that. And yes, for regular. I think those are good things. Don't make that the thing. That's the icing on the cake. You can use it to motivate and push a little bit. You can have parties and eat cake when you win something. But I think recognition is fine. If we weren't okay with recognition, we wouldn't have sports. I don't know how many of those guys would play just, what? Nobody's reporting our scores? Nobody knows we won? It's okay to enjoy your moment, Build credibility by getting things right. I'm big on that, spelling, pronunciation. That's how we got principals on our side. We got stuff right. They couldn't come to us saying, you can't even say Mrs. So-and-so's name right. You got the date wrong on the thing. I told you to do. So we tried to get it right, just the little stuff. I like to find and share best practices with your kids. Use professional scholastic examples. Hold the bar up by showing them good. You can occasionally show them bad. Don't worry. You can learn from a bad story, but show them good. And then use social media to get the word out about your productions. You kind of have to anymore. You got to do branding. And some of our branding is here. We've done stuff. We made this for our set a couple years ago. It's some of the places we've been through the years. We travel a lot. We do occasionally do bus tours for 9 or 10 days. We go get in a bus with cameras and such, and we go. And we did one in Colorado. We were there for 8 days. It's get off the bus and find a story. Nothing's pre-cooked. They don't Google it. They get off the bus, have to walk up to strangers that look like they have something interesting to talk about. It's very educated. We did one the Pacific Coast bus tour a couple years ago. We came out here. We flew they save up for a year, and we have a few fundraising things they can do to help their cause. We flew from Kansas City, which is about 3 hours from us. Flew southwest to Portland, caught the bus there, went down the Pacific Coast all the way to San Francisco and back, and did stories. We do 3 stories a day, so they don't always have a deadline. They get a couple days to play, and they all file usually 3 stories. Some parents go along. Some former students go along as my field producers. Melina's done that 2 or 3 times. She actually was a student on the first bus tour. Brandon was a field producer on that one. So that's one of our little things we do to build the culture, and also it's very educational. That's our podcast logo. All right, so if you build the culture right, you get moments like this on the way home from Colorado, 30 miles outside Springfield.
All right, 1, 2, 3.
Hey! Ho! Hey! Ho!
I've been trying to edit right.
Hey!
I've been staying up every night.
Ho!
I've been sleeping here instead.
Hey!
I've been missing my own bed.
Ho!
I've been working till I'm dead.
Hey!
So show me HTV.
Hey!
All the mountain air to breathe.
Ho!
I don't know where I belong.
Hey!
In the Rockies, nothing's wrong.
Ho!
And I can write a song.
Hey!
I belong with you. You belong with me. You're my sweetheart. I belong with you. You belong with me. You're my sweetheart. I belong with you. You belong with me. You're my sweetheart. I belong with you. You belong with me. You're my sweetheart.
Hey! Ho! Hey!
Just I thought you'd appreciate that as a teacher. That was 2014, there's not a journalist on board. None of them went into journalism. A couple of them went into production. One of them's got his own photography business, but like I said, they do the journalism for me now, learn from it. And sometimes, to wrap it up, sometimes they do stay in the game a little bit.
Head north on Bloody 13 and you'll find this, the Osceola Cheese Factory. And trust me, this is no cheesy story. Wait, it is, because it's about cheese. Hungry, cheese-craving old people travel from hundreds of states across America to visit Osceola, the cheese capital of the world, Ozarks. Kyle?
It's Cheesemania in here. Look at all these people wanting cheese. It's crazy. They want it, and they want 80 different kinds. They're sampling it, and it's all because they love it.
And because of all the cheese, all you can say is wow.
Wow, it's right, with all the cheese.
Here at Osceola Cheese, you'll find a bunch of little cups with a bunch of little cheeses, and they're good. How is it?
Good.
Is it good?
Yeah.
Can you say it?
Good.
What?
It's good.
Didn't get that in a second. Okay.
It's good.
Oh wait. Mic level, okay.
It's good.
The main thing we're all wondering is, who cuts the cheese? Well, in the rear of the building, you'll find the main cheese cutter, who wish to remain unidentified.
You not told you I didn't want to interview. Our main cheese cutter would be Chris Hanna.
Oops! We accidentally revealed the identity of Chris Hanna. But what can you do?
This is one of the ways that they cut the cheese. This is their wire rack. This is one big old knife right through here that they take it and they just kind of cut down on it.
That's right, Kyle. She does just cut down on it. More like cut the cheese. Oh, what can you do? So, how many people do you think you've seen cutting the cheese at the same time?
Basically, we only have one person that cuts the cheeses because they have the different processes. We don't have that much space for more than one cheese to be cut at a time.
So when they start cutting the cheese, it fills up the room, right?
Oh yeah, because you've got people like over here on this table where they cut the cheese. Then you've got this, you see these over here with their bag, they put them in the bags.
Mullet lady's right. The bags keep the cheese fresh so it can taste good.
Good.
Can you say good?
Good.
What was it? I didn't get it.
Good.
I'm sorry, one more time.
Good.
Okay, hold it, one more time.
Good.
All right, just one more time.
Good.
It might seem that everyone is a fan of the cheese, but Charles Melling is a cheese skeptic.
I would get bound up.
In fact, he hates it.
Yes, I do.
If you are like Charles and hate cheese, you have many other choices, like Beaver Russian mustard, Beaver Chinese mustard, Beaver Maui mustard, candy canes, Beaver Old English mustard, or cheese sticks. Oh wait, that's cheese. But some just like cheese. It doesn't matter what kind.
I just like cheese. Doesn't matter what kind.
I'm Brandon Goodwin.
I'm Kyle Flanagan reporting for HTV and saying, good.
After building credibility for an hour, I finished with that.
It was 18 years ago.
Yeah. He was, it was toward the end of his, I don't want to talk. Yeah. Mel. Yeah. It is, this was back when The Daily Show should have hired you. That's where he kind of got.
As old as I was.
Yeah. Yes, we get it. You're old now. This is old, but you're older now. See? Yeah. Mullet, ladies, right?
Also, we stole all the jokes from The Daily Show.
Yeah, basically. Nothing in that story. I told them when they got out of the van, because I needed to take a nap. I was driving them home from a trip we took to KC. And I got exhausted. And I said, can you guys, I need about 45 minutes, or I don't want to wreck. We got another hour and a half to go. And Brandon and Kyle, his buddy there, now, hey, can we do a story while we're here? Because we stopped at Osceola Cheese. Everybody stops there on the way down Highway 13. I said, sure, knock yourself out, whatever. Well, what should we do? And I don't know why I said these words. Why don't you do a story that's like how not to do a story? Yeah, that's it. And that's all they needed. And nothing in that story is legit. The names were made up. The stand-up he does at the beginning, they had bad audio, so he lip-dubbed it. You didn't know it. My favorite line in the whole thing, though, is not mullet ladies right. It's,
that's my favorite.
Yeah. Hundreds of cheese-craving old people come. Yeah.